Hello. So someone posted a Daily Mail link, which I think provokes a lot of talking points that I want to raise here. A number of talking points, anyway. Um, and basically, the article is about a veteran, military veteran, by the name of Tony McNally from Barrow-in-Furness in Cumbria. Now, supposedly, he posted a tweet saying the way to sort out Brexit is by a military coup. He got a lot of vitriol for this apparently, so he immediately deleted the tweet. Well, apparently he got a call at the door by two detectives questioning him, and they evoked the murder of Joe Cox, the MP who was murdered 3 years ago, for those outside the UK who don't know. Um, Now, my first feeling on this was, oh, that's a big overreaction. The man obviously meant it as tongue in cheek. But considering it a bit more, I have mixed feelings about this. Um, Firstly, this is a particular right wing thing to kind of insinuate that because someone is a veteran, then they're above criticism or above responsibility. I would actually put the point that because he's a veteran, he should have known better than to tweet about a coup. Now, the interesting thing about this was he said he was doing it after he read that a general, the general's not named, but he read that a general would, this general apparently said that a coup d'etat was plausible under a Corbyn government. So maybe it's that general that needs to be questioned. I mean, particularly at that level, I really don't think a general of the armed forces should be saying anything about military coups in a flippant way. Regardless of what people think of Corbyn, and I'm not a fan of Corbyn, that is a very, it's not something to be taken lightly. Have a look at that if you doubt me. So, and by the way, I don't think that will ever happen in the UK, but that's a particular right wing thing, and it's typical of the Daily Mail to say veteran 57 served in the Falklands, served in Northern Ireland. Frankly, that's not really relevant to whether or not the police investigate. The police have a responsibility if they think that there is a credible threat of violence to act. Now, having said that, I do think that they, should look at it in the light of what it is. The man says it was obviously intended as a joke. Maybe it was a bad joke, but that's what he says. And I really don't think, looking at the report, that he would have seriously thought about organising a coup. Also, there would be fair criticism of the perceived double standards when someone like Joe Brand, who made that ghastly joke about acid attacks, no further action was taken against her. But in both cases, people were questioned by the police. I take the view that everyone is responsible for their own words and actions. I, like a lot of people, am wary about police overreach. I am wary of the police, you know, um, always swooping in whenever someone says something politically incorrect. That is definitely something that we should be concerned about. By the same token, though, this is a very tense environment that we're currently in, and there has been violence in society. There has. And there have been examples, I'm not talking necessarily in very recent years, but there has been examples of ex-veterans sometimes suffering PTSD who have committed terrible crimes. Maybe it's a result of PTSD, which is gets into the debate about funding for mental health in the armed forces. But there's a few things here. Number one, the police have a responsibility to act, and it needs to be a case that the law is applied evenly. If something had happened, and I think a coup d'etat is highly fanciful in this country, but if something had happened, then the police would be criticised for not acting, right? So they're under a lot of pressure. Um, Definitely, I don't think there should be any further action in this case because clearly the man meant it as a joke. But he isn't exactly showing much. regret for that. Like he's not saying, "Oh, I shouldn't have done it," or "It was a silly thing to say." He's kind of like, you know, being very defensive about it, and I sort of understand that because obviously, no one wants to have a call on the door because they've said something on the internet. It kind of has the hallmarks of a police state. But by the same token, we do see violence in society. So I've kind of mixed feelings about this. I don't like the way the right always kind of put this insinuation that if someone has been in the armed forces, then they're above the law. That's nonsense. Everyone should be equal under the law. And that is not disrespectful to the military. Of course, veterans are brave people who have served their country. But recognizing that doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, well, we'll just turn a blind eye if they might be breaking the law. Now, if this is an incitement to violence, I don't think it could be really construed that way. But if it were, let's say, for example, he was advocating violence against public figures, would the Daily Mail be defending that? I don't think that there should be a situation that because of someone's job, they're above criticism or above the law. But I don't think an actual crime is being committed here, as I don't know. There will be a reason why they decided to investigate it. Maybe they got a tip off. Maybe someone said, "Oh, this guy's threatening a coup d'état." Well, the police have to act on that. Put yourselves in their position. They get an anonymous tip off saying someone is planning a coup d'état. Would it be responsible for them to just ignore it? So, on the surface, it looks heavy handed, but the police have a responsibility to act. And as a veteran, I think he frankly should have known better than to tweet about a coup d'etat. I mean, would the Daily Mail be defending him if he was an ordinary right wing? Well, maybe they would actually, but um, yeah, that's my take on it. So, a few issues here. Attitudes to veterans who may be engaging in breaking the law or otherwise, and the power that police have when it comes to things we say on the internet. Um, I definitely think that we should be wary of police overreach, but by the same token, I think we need to recognise that the police have responsibility.